Right, hang on. Right then. Right, I can't remember what question I were on then when it cut off. I think it was on last question, were we? Nick Johnson, will Huey win a world title at all, Russell? Yeah, I think he was matched correctly. I think Huey's had some bad luck in the ring. He's had some bad cuts and he's had some bad luck. The referee were putting a bit of pressure on him in Bulgaria, but he's had some bad luck. But it seems to me if I stick up for anybody or give somebody the benefit of the doubt, people want to give me stick. So keep the stick coming because it proves that you're still watching the channel. And like I said, got some fantastic things lined up for next year. Oh my god. And I'm just loving it at the moment. Things are going fantastic. Oh my god. Hang on a minute, 2 secs. What can I tell? No, it's not that heavy at all. I get used to it, but the one I had before were twice as heavy, but I had it cut in half. Alright, does that bother you? I hope not. Right, will Huey win a world title? Yeah, I think he was matched correctly. Will he beat Joshua now? No. Will he beat Wilder now? No, not experienced enough. He's got to get more experience and more man strength, that's my opinion. Got great movement, but he's 24-year-old. Where was Joshua when he was 24? He wasn't a world champion, was he? So, where was Wilder when he was 24? He was just coming out at Olympics, wasn't he, when he was 24, Wilder? So Huey's ahead of Wilder as far as I'm concerned. What is he, a world amateur gold medal? World amateur junior gold medal, so we'll see. But I wish him well. Well, thank you for your question, Nick. Right, go to these last few questions. I've got some questions on here now that are on my phone because they were that long I couldn't copy them out. See what I do, I prefer to copy them out on a piece of paper, and then while I'm copying them out it's ingrained in my head, innit? So photographs. Right, let's go straight into business. This is from Stuart Clarkwood. Good afternoon. Oh, that's a really long one, that. Oh, I've already done that one, I think, Stuart Clarkwood. Oh, here we are. Wallace P. Games. Hello, Russ. I want to know what your thoughts are on Adam Booth and Ryan Burnett at the moment. Well, I think they make a good team, but I think they've had a bit of bad luck, haven't they, with that injury. So when somebody gets an injury, you can't plan for that, can you? So, Russ, what is your take on the old Tyson Fury team, Mick, Peter and a few others missing out on the big paydays that Frank, Ben and Tyson are going to get? I mean, that's boxing, isn't it? It's not for me to comment on that, but Mick Hennessy signed Tyson as an amateur to turn pro. If I were Mick Hennessy, I'd be unhappy. Peter came, didn't he, when he was 13-0, were he? 13-0? Or 15-0, I can't remember now. I know he came midway through his career, didn't he, Peter? I don't know the exact, I don't know how many fights he'd had, but obviously they're not going to be impressed, but I don't know. You'd have to ask Peter and Mick Hennessy, James. I can't comment for Mick and Peter and the people around them. You'd have to ask them. See, I'm not Team Fury, so yeah, you can't. I can't comment on that. Free deleted. Right, on to the next one. Who's this off? Aha! Terry Fox, the gentleman that gave me the book. Hi Russell, we often hear it said that boxing needs its characters. Well, that's better if you do it from the side. Usually after the latest buffoonery of Tyson Fury. I mention this not to invite particular judgment on the antics of Tyson Fury, but to challenge the question the comment raises. Does boxing really need its characters? Does boxing really need some of its sports people to be part-time knobheads? Surely it's enough for our professional boxers, arguably the most finest tune of all athletes, men and women, of great courage and skill, who achieve their conditioning through sweat-soaked dedication and stringent self-denial to show dignity, good humour and self-respect? Or is it incumbent upon some of them to act like total raving helmets too? My view is that boxing would attract more and better interest without the abuse and the clowning and bullshit and mental bullying of the pressers and boxers' social media postings. Oh, such characters in brackets. But then that's just my opinion. The real question is, what does the mighty Porkster think? With best wishes to you and yours, Terry. I see your point, Terry, and I agree with you to some point. But who would have been interested in Dillian White against Chisora if Chisora didn't throw that table and then they had a roll around at the press conference? Eddie Hearn needed them to sell that fight, didn't they, with AJ? So as far as I'm concerned, boxing does need a little bit of, you know, a bit of rivalry. Sometimes it goes too far, doesn't it? And you know, like Bellew and David A, some of the things they were coming out with were just from the gutter, wasn't it? But that's what they're like. And then David A were like that in the first fight against Bellew. In the second fight, he went all professional and you know, would you oblige me and all that load of crap. And he tried to play perfect gentleman. Look, the bottom line is this: boxing's run by people that are either ex-villains or wanting to be villains. That the people that want to be seen as bad men, aren't they? Eddie Hearn gives it all that Essex chat, doesn't he? But when it comes down to it, and you know, I've heard some proper stories from people who know him that he's got no backbone. But other than that, a lot of people that hang around on the fringes of boxing are people who have been in trouble, aren't they? A lot of people can't go boxing in America. A lot of people can't go tech fighters abroad because they've got problems with visas and stuff like that. A lot of people in the boxing community have been in prison, like me. I've spent over 10 years in prison. I'll never be able to go to America. I can't even go there and take my children there, so that's bad, isn't it? But it doesn't mean so that I have to behave like a helmet, does it? Because some of the videos that I did earlier on, when I look back at them now, I cringe. And I don't want to be like that. I want my channel to last, have a bit, and I want people who I'm in talks with and that to think that I've got a bit of polish. Because nobody ever got anywhere behaving like an helmet, did they? But Tyson Fury sells fights, doesn't he? He puts bums on seats. Anthony Joshua does it because of the backing he's got. Could Joshua sell as many tickets if he were with Frank Warren? Could he do as many tickets without Sky? Without the Sky platform? I'm not so sure. But he says all the right things, Joshua, and he does all the right things, doesn't he? But everybody else should take a leaf out in his book because he conducts himself well, doesn't he? Although if you look at who escorts him into the ring, that shouldn't really help him, should it? You'd think his sponsors would be having a go at him, wouldn't you? You know, having people singing about crack dealing and guns going off and shootings and prison and all that kind of thing. But if you listen to Joshua talk on Sky, he talks like he's a company man, but when he's with his people, he doesn't talk like that. When he's When he's away from cameras, let me just say he's not like that. Alright, so don't be fooled. Another question here from James Sutton. What's your take on the Dominic Ingle interview on IFL? This is a good question. I remember these from yesterday. This is why I photocopied this with my phone, because I've been there ages writing it out. What's your take on the Dominic Ingle interview on IFL? Seems to have a few digs at Eddie Hearn, saying Kelbrook and Kid Galahad have had fights under VADA testing but never had any samples took. He said that Kid Galahad had to arrange private testing for his fight in USA. Also, Dominic implied it depends on who promotes the fighter, whether you get tested or not under VADA, with double standards. And I agree with Dominic on that. Then with a stern look at the camera, Dominic turned around and said, revenge is a dish best served cold. Think Eddie saw a chance to get that belt easy without fighting Billy Joe from Andrade. I bet if they were both Eddie's fights, we'd have heard none of the failed drug test. Keep up the good work, James, sent from my iPhone. Yeah, good point that, James, good point that. Yeah, it does help if you've got a powerful promoter, doesn't it? You can get away with murder, can't you? Where would Derek Chisora be after getting beat by Caballel in Monaco? Where would he be now without Eddie Hearn? Eddie Hearn's put him in the shop window and just put it fight on to Chisora fight. I mean, he's now saying it was a great fight last time. Forget the fact Caballel beat him, but really he wanted Chisora to beat Caballel so he could defend against Dillian and get Chisora a better split. So I suppose Eddie's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. So I see where he's coming from, but that's a good question, that. Very good question. We've got another question here. There's a few here. James Sutton, how are you doing, Ross? Easy, early Friday finish and a few afternoon pints down pub. What is your take on the old Tyson? Oh, we've done that one, haven't we? The Tyson Fury, Mick Hennessy, and Tyson earning a lot of money with Frank and Mick missing out. We've done that one, haven't we? The Stephen Merchant. Frank Warren and his BT deal. This is a good question. Frank Warren and his BT deal. What on earth is going to those multiple dates? I think he means what's happening with those multiple dates per year, Russ. We're supposed to be getting from him. He's clearly through Box Nation under a bus to cozy with BT. However, my question is, where is the value for money? It seems BT, like ITV, are jumping on the pay-per-view bandwagon and conning the fans. Wilder Fury, no issues being pay-per-view. Yeah, I think Frank Warren had all them dates. What happened to them dates? I don't know. Didn't he say you were going to do 30 shows a year? Well, how has he done this year? It's not 10 shows, is it? He's not done 10 shows, has he? Is it 9 shows? I don't know. I mean, are they counting the content they bought in from abroad? What are they on? 12, 13 shows, if that? I don't know. But the one that they did in Essex the other night was a shambles, wasn't it? The one where it kicked off. And then he's put question 2. This is from Stephen Merchant. Eddie Hearn and his $1 billion DAZN deal with the war chest he's got. What do you think to that, Ross? And the Canelo situation. Well, I think that if Eddie Hearn's got $1 billion, you'd have thought he'd have got Mikey Garcia signed, wouldn't you? And Javante Davis. I mean, if he were that bothered about them, he'd have bought the contracts off Mayweather Promotions, and he'd have offered Mikey Garcia more money, wouldn't he? But question 3, UK's referee judging. Surely we can put an end to this talk about UK fighters going abroad and getting shafted. The scoring in the UK at the moment is horrific. at the weekend it proves it with the Zach Parker Darrell Williams fight. There's been far too many horror shows over the past few years as to be addressed sooner or later, or the top fighters will avoid coming here for fear of being robbed. Well, yeah, that's why Andre Ward didn't want to come here. He thought he was going to get jobbed, didn't he, against Froch. Kept saying that the Darrell Froch fight were dodgy and blah de blah, but I can see where he's coming from with that. But Darrell, in my opinion, lost a point, and he stunk the place out. That's all of them now. Let's have a look. But as far as I'm concerned, he stunk the place out. But it is what it is, isn't it? Look at my new Merc, it looks gorgeous. Just had my wheels done in gunmetal grey. I think that the refereeing at the weekend, the Zach Parker Darrell Williams fight, I think that's the worst one I've seen since the Tim Bradley one and the Ricky Burns Ray Beltran. I think that was shocking. The Manny Pacquiao Tim Bradley one, that was shocking. The Canelo Mayweather, the woman who gave that a draw, that was shocking. The Canelo Golovkin one, that were bad. But the Darrell Williams one, Victor Loughlin had a nightmare, and he also made a bad decision. He also made a bad decision as a referee as well. Now, Stuart Clark Wood, Yarde is a boxing ambassador for Adidas. Is this a wind-up, Ross? Yarde, he's not fought anybody. He's got sponsorships coming out of his rear end of him. Who is he fighting? Is he number one ranked? He's number one ranked because the number one and the former champion are going to fight, aren't they? Or the former number one has just won the belt and he's going to rematch him, and he's next in line in a Yarde. But they're not going to call that for about another year, are they? Normally, when somebody is number one ranked or next in line with the WBO, Frank Warren's screaming blue murder. They were screaming with Vladimir, weren't they, to fight Tyson Fury when Frank were trying to muscle in on Act, and he tried to muscle in on Act with getting Hughie Fury into position, but it's one of them things, isn't it? Yarde, there's obviously something not right about Yarde. They're holding him back. Has he got weak whiskers? Is he hiding glass? We don't know, do we? It remains to be seen, but we'll see, won't we? But I don't know what to make of it all, to be honest. But Yarde against Buatsi, why is it not happening, Porky? That's from Stuart Clark Wood. I don't know why Yarde Buatsi is not happening. Probably because you've got Eddie Hearn. He's the promoter of one of them. Frank Warren's the promoter of the other. They've worked together on 3 fights, and the 4th one with Billy Joe Andrade, and look how that ended up. So I doubt very much that both parties will want to work with each other again on that, because Frank will be looking to even score it with lawyers outside of the ring, and there'll be all sorts of politics, and it's obvious they can't work together now, can they, after what's happened? So Buatsi against Yarde. I don't think Yarde wants to fight him, and I don't think Buatsi wants to fight him either. They're both basically novices, aren't they? So let it grow. Hearn referring to the DAZN, this is from Stuart Clark Wood, as what? Us and we making out Rocky Fielding was a major reason for the deal happening with Canelo. Rocky Fielding didn't make Canelo sign with DAZN. Eddie Hearn can tell himself that, can't he? Because they're working with them. But if truth be known, Rocky Fielding gets beat by Canelo, and Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya, they've got a separate deal to Eddie Hearn, haven't they? They're not joint with Matchroom. It's not a Matchroom affair. It's a Golden Boy DAZN deal, isn't it? It's just like Dennis Hobson working with Satanta and Frank Warren working with Satanta. You know, it's back in the day. It's not a Matchroom Golden Boy DAZN deal, it's Matchroom DAZN Golden Boy DAZN. Just two promoters working with a TV company. Eddie Hearn will tell you what he thinks he wants to tell you, because he thinks DAZN's his, but it isn't his. Now Sky is his, but Eddie Hearn had to let Mick Hennessy work with Vladimir, didn't he, on Sky? He got his nose put out of joint on that one, didn't he? But Eddie likes to think that he's in charge of every TV deal that he has to deal with, but he isn't. I can see Golden Boy taking over DAZN, but I can see Eddie being a force as well, to be honest with you, in America, if he signs a few more people. So he's going great guns, isn't he? But it remains to be seen where they go from here. But Canelo going with DAZN's a game changer, and it's probably made Eddie stronger. There's one here from Mark in Leeds. He's a good bloke, isn't he? Mark in Leeds. Top man. How are you doing, Mark? Mark says Oscar De La Hoya had never heard of Rocky from Stocky. I agree with you, Mark. What do you think to that, Samba King? Do you agree with that? You have plenty to say for yourself, don't you, on YouTube? Probably Steffi Bull in disguise, aren't you? Someone's going to get hurt, is my opinion. I think someone's going to get hurt on some of these bad matchups that they're doing. Rocky Fielding, though, he's a world champion. He's a bigger man than Canelo, but who's Rocky Fielding's best win? Who? His best win is Tyrone Zuger. He got iced by Callum Smith. Tyrone Zuger's his best win. But I like Rocky from Stocky, it's a great story. Nobody's going to begrudge him getting a few quid, are they? But he's not in Canelo's league, is he? They're just selling belt to Canelo, aren't they? Eddie's cashing him in because he knows sooner or later that belt he'll get took off him. Now, he'd rather it go to Canelo than James DeGale, because James DeGale doesn't sell a ticket. Canelo's going to be a sellout, so it's better for Eddie Hearn to be cashing that belt in against Canelo, isn't it? Just the same as Frank Warren cashed the belt in that Liam Smith had against Canelo. They cashed that in against a stadium full of Mexicans. Beefy Smith got paid and set up for life. Frank Warren got paid off it, but they cashed the belt in. That's the name of the game, really. It's money, there has to be an end product. Rocky Fielding, is it better that Rocky gets paid, I don't know, 700 or 800 grand for fighting Canelo? Or does he get 80 grand for losing to James DeGale? He could fight 10 fights and not get the money he's going to get against Canelo. So, and don't forget his trainer's going to be on 10%. So as far as I'm concerned, they're all going to be saying fight Canelo. But all them people who keep saying he's got a puncher's chance, they sound like the same people that kept saying Paul Smith can knock Andre Ward out if he hits him with that right hand. Yeah, alright. They're just trying to say that to make Rocky Fielding feel any better, to feel better, but I can assure you that Golovkin couldn't budge Canelo in 24 rounds, and Jamie Moore will be like Dominic Ingle with a towel in his hand just ready to throw it in. But I hope Rocky Fielding knocks him out, because I don't like him as a drug cheat. I've done the Stephen Merchant one, that's on my phone. I've done the Red West one. Red West says Hearn versus Leonard 2. Ray. What did I think to Ray Leonard against Tommy Hearn's rematch? What did I think to it? Go read Ray Leonard's book, and he says in the book that it was a draw on it, I believe. He says that he thought Tommy Hearns beat him in the rematch. Same as Christopher Eubank said he thought Nigel Benn beat him in the rematch. That were a draw, wasn't it? At the time though, these rematches, the promoters, they always want a trilogy out of big fights like that. And it serves the promoters well to have it as a draw, so they get a third one. Because if Leonard would have won that one, it'd have been 2-0. They wouldn't have got a third, would they? But did they have a third, the Hearns and Leonard? I can't remember. But Colin Elliott sent me his tweet in. You are stuck. Read up Eddie Hearns ARSE. And Colwell replied, "Don't worry about don't worry what I'm doing. Worry what you're doing. I'm taking care of business." I said this to you, Dave Caldwell. What, like you took care of Gavin McDonald and Jamie McDonald's business, putting them in the ring, and then afterwards saying they should be fighting at bigger weights? Well, why put them in at that weight then, in world title